story is called The Hard Life of Jim Bob Wilkes. This is Jim Bob Wilkes, Jim for short. He is 41 years old, but his face don't look it by the long time that he's been working on the railroad ever since he was 13. His parents didn't have much to live on, so Jim did what he could to help out. Since he started working at such a young age, his education tanked and he didn't get past the 10th grade. He worked his way up and became in charge of all the other workers. Today was an especially difficult day because some of the train tracks snapped in half and a train full of wealthy people, important people who don't like to wait, was on its way. So the crew had to work double time in order to fix it before they came. After a long, hard day at work, Jim leaned against the wall of his small trailer and took a drag on his pipe to unwind. In the background, he heard his new baby girl crying. He put out his pipe and went back inside.
He had done it. Finally, he had done it. For years, he had been on this mission of this fine man who ruined his life. John decided that the smoke from his pipe would be in the water. Getting out, John looked at the other man for a while. He was tied up and quite unconscious. Shovel was a bit much, but it got the job done. Now came for the hard part, John's plan. One that he was hesitant to even put into effect. Very hesitant. Sighing, John decided that all this was not worth his satisfaction, and he'd been too tormented, and he'd be too tormented to pursue. Putting away his pipe, John went over and cut the ropes binding the other man to the chair. As the man slumped to the ground, John started to walk away from the secret. He didn't want to deal with all this anymore. He'd done enough already. The years had taken their toll on him. The years had taken their toll on him. It was so long since everything had been seen and relaxed in his life. So very long. He didn't know what he was going to do now. Perhaps he should go back home, rebuild his house.
One of our students, Jennifer Kerr, needed to leave last night, so she asked me if I would read part of her piece so that you have a flavor of the kind of writing that she likes to do. And this would be a good time to take this part out. Her piece was based on the portrayal of the character Gollum in The Hobbit. Jennifer Kerr writes, "The best books are the ones that come alive when you read them. It's almost like living in another world. Some characters may become like friends that you invite over for tea every time you pick up the book, while others become enemies you detest. Still others are somewhere in between, curious characters you would only like to observe at a safe distance." In his novel, The Hobbit, J.R.R. Tolkien effectively describes a unique character called Gollum through revealing his appearance, his actions, and his unique way of speaking. Tolkien begins by painting a descriptive picture of Gollum. He says Gollum is a small, slimy creature. That's on page 71. Tolkien also says Gollum's big, round, pale eyes were set in a thin face. After reading these descriptions, a painting begins to appear in readers' minds of this creature. Readers feel an eerie distaste for Gollum, simply by learning about his appearance. Through this description, Tolkien gives a clue that Gollum is a bad guy.
This is a much more condensed version of my story because due to time. It's called Camouflage Kindness. There she stood, eyes narrowed and glaring at anyone who came near that she did not deem worthy. She strutted down the hall in her hot pink stilettos while smiling at the jocks and pushing others out of her way. Melanie Chanel Hodgins was the queen bee at Battlefield High School. Melanie always got what she wanted, and she ran to school with an ironclad fist. Every girl wanted to be her, and every guy wanted to be with her. She was head cheerleader, homecoming queen, and in about 8 months, she hoped to be prom queen. At 17 years old, Melanie took great pride in her appearance. She had light golden blonde hair with natural honey blonde highlights. Her hair cascaded down her back in small waves, only to stop once they reached the small of her back. She possessed baby blue eyes that twinkled when she was happy and glowed with passion when she was upset. She was blessed with having strong and defined cheekbones and a slim waist. To top it all off, although a late bloomer, her curves spread out in all the right places, only adding to her natural and addictive beauty. Today she wore a pink lacy tank, a denim miniskirt, and carried her pink coach. She approached her friends Katie and Bethany. "Hey," she said with a fake smile plastered on her face. Although she called them friends, she didn't really like either of them. They were exactly the kind of people she hated being around. In fact, they were exactly like her, or at least the person she pretended to be. "Hey Mel, what?" Bethany started to say, but was cut off when a girl fell into them. This girl was regarded as the lowest of the low in the social charts, and this only added to the outrage in Melanie's mind. "Hey, watch it," Melanie yelled, causing everyone around them to stop what they were doing and watch the scene unfold. "I'm so," the girl started to say in a rather small voice, but was quickly cut off by Melody's rant. "No, you need to watch what you're doing, or else," she threatened Lily with venom thick in her voice. But the girl started, but was yet again cut off. "Maybe we should just show her what happens when you step to us," Katie suggested with an evil smile spread across her lips. "What did you have in mind?" Bethany questioned with a sinister look upon her face. "Well," she said, leaning and whispering in the ears of Bethany and Melanie. Okay, so I'm going to skip to the next important part because I don't have time to read. "Melanie," Bethany screamed, trying her best not to freak out. When they reached the top of the steps from the basement, Melanie started complaining that she wasn't feeling well. Her friends, being the great friends they are, were too busy laughing at the horrid trick that they just played on Carrie and complaining about how they almost chipped him down, doing absolutely nothing to even care. By the time they reached the end of the hall, Melanie's head was reeling, and she was staring at a mass of swirling shapes and colors. The next thing she knew, all she seen was black. Skip me again. This is after she's passed out, in Melanie's mind. It was dark, void of anything but her and her own thoughts. There were no subtle sounds to be heard, no colors to be seen, not even any feelings to be felt. It was just empty. So empty, in fact, that she could not even recognize the space she'd seen as being black. It just wasn't. "Hello?" Melanie questioned in a very quiet and unsure voice. At that very moment, a floating, glowing path appeared out of nowhere. Along the path appeared 4 doors. The doors glowed with an unmistakable power. They contained such a powerful force radiating off of them that they were literally calling her to open them. The first door was a golden ivory color, while the other 3 were blacker than the night sky. The first looked as though, if followed, it would lead to a staircase straight to heaven. The other 3 had a feeling of deep sadness radiating off of them. When staring at the doors, Melanie thought that they themselves would soon start crying. The first door she reached, the golden one, had a silver number 5 and the date 4/13/01 on it. The next contained a large iron 6 and the date 4/13/02. The third door weighed down by brass number 15 and the dates 6/21/11. The final possessed a copper 15 and the date 7/12/11. The real-life Melanie would have never forgotten any of these dates. They were permanently embedded into her mind. But Dream Melanie was so oblivious to anything other than the strong pull for her to enter. She reached out slowly and turned the doorknob of room number 5. "Mom," she cried with a mixture of happiness, sadness, and longing in her voice. Before her stood a scene she had all but forgotten. It was a 5-year-old Melanie playing at the park with her older sister Lindsay and their mother Savannah and their father Joseph. The scene melted Mel's heart and brought tears to her eyes. She remembered it like it was yesterday. Her father had just gotten back from his last time serving in the Army. He was officially retired and taking over his family's weapons business. They were all beyond overjoyed. To celebrate, they all went to the park and had a picnic. All of a sudden, a force way stronger than her began to drag Melanie out of the room. Once out, the door closed and vanished. Excited to see what lay beyond in the next door, Melanie grabbed the doorknob of the next door, completely forgetting the date. When she walked in, she completely and totally regretted it. No, Melanie screamed, tears freely flowing down her eyes. Before her was an image she spent over 10 unsuccessful years trying to forget. There was so much blood. Everywhere she looked, she saw red. 6-year-old Melanie sat with 10-year-old Lindsay. They sat and watched in terror as paramedics tried to save their bleeding mother. They had been riding down the road, singing and goofing off, when all of a sudden an explosion of lights fired and the loudest sounds ever heard occurred. It was unlike anything they had ever experienced. There was broken glass and smoke everywhere, and a surreal feeling of death loomed over their heads. With Lindsay's help, Melanie was able to escape with the almost crumpled car, but their mother was trapped. The two children screamed for their mother to come out, but all she could do was mumble in small, incoherent sounds. Melanie would never forget the moment her distraught father found out that the explosion was caused by a missile created by Hodgins Industries, their company. His face fell and his heart shattered. That was the day she lost her mother and her father's heart turned to stone. After the moment he found out he was responsible for the death of his wife, he never loved or cared for anyone again. After leaving the room, she wanted anything but to go to the next, but that same invisible force refused to let her go. She walked in and immediately fell to the ground in tears. There, laying in a shiny black box covered in gold accents, lay her sister. Pale as snow and cold to the touch, 15-year-old Melanie reached over and grabbed the hand of her sister and pleaded for her to awaken. Lindsay was dressed in a beautiful white silk gown, looking as peaceful as ever. If it were not for the sounds of the morning in the background, Melanie would have sworn she was only sleeping, but she wasn't. Thanks to a drunk driver, Lindsay would never get the chance to live. She would never get the chance to be a world-renowned designer. She would never get to marry the man of her dreams, and she would never have the opportunity to bring new life into the world. No, thanks to some idiotic teenager, she would have nothing but a dark, dirt-filled hole in the ground. She left the room shattered to pieces, but when she seen the devil next door, she knew the worst was yet to come. She walked into the room and was hit by waves of feelings so strong she almost collapsed. "You idiot! How could you have done something so stupid?" her dad screamed, fury and rage evident upon his face. I'm sorry, Dad," Melanie cried hysterically. "No, how did you manage to lose $1 million to some bogus charity group?" "I didn't know. I was just trying to help," she whispered. "Why can't you be more like your sister was? She would have never let anything like this happen," he said with distaste written all over his face. "What do you mean?" she bellowed with a strained voice. "Lindsay was mean to everyone and only cared about herself." "Well, she never lost me $1 million," her father said in a quiet voice, hoping she wouldn't hear, but she did. "Fine," she screamed with determination. And that's questions of people. And that's his point.
My story is called I Am a Writer. I am a writer who enjoys writing on my own in a quiet place. I tend to focus better when I am out around things or people that distract me. When others are around, I usually start talking and writing totally slips my mind. The only time I really like people around is to help me with their visions. When I'm writing for fun, I usually write about a mystery, something I have personally experienced, or a realistic story. What I write about depends on what's going on in my life or just what I am thinking about. The hardest topic for me to write about would most likely be history or even just an informative paper. Most of the stories I have written just start with one idea and I just go with it. I'm not a big fan of peer editing unless it is someone I can truly trust to be honest with me. I want someone that will truly help me improve what I have instead of someone who will just not take editing seriously. If I know certain people will be listening or reading my work, it could change my whole topic. For example, one time I started a story to hand in for a grade, but I found out I had to present it to the class, so I wrote a new story to read. I sometimes write about personal things that I really would not want other people to hear. Plus, if I know who the audience is, I try and write about something they can relate to. When I finish my draft of a story, I will start another copy and just make the changes as I go. Sometimes I would even write about a third draft before I type. When I feel my story is done, I will ask my English teacher or creative writing teacher to read it and go over it with me. Then I go back and make some changes based on their advice. After I have typed a new draft, I ask friends for their opinions on my writing. One of the short stories I have written that I use my process for would be The Reality.
I'm a writer. I'm a writer who prefers to type his papers. I type my papers because it is faster for me and easier for me to revise. I've been typing assignments since 6th grade to take notes and write assignments. Since then, I have not used a notebook in school. When I write an essay for school, I always write on my own in my room because I need the silence to focus on my work. I'm the type of writer who can be easily distracted by what's happening outside or right next to me. This is the reason why I confine myself to my room when I write. When I do become distracted by something nearby or distant, I attempt to remove myself from the situation or remove the distraction. When I am confined to my room, it may take hours to write and edit my work. I'm a writer who does not enjoy revising my work because I feel the need to add to my paragraphs and increase the overall length of my paper. When I revise my work, I read the entire paper and make the edits as I go along through the reading. The edits I make range from spelling errors to increasing the overall content of my paragraphs. The type of writing I enjoy the most is a literary critique, because I'm free to write my opinion about a work of literature. When I write a literary critique, I bear in mind that there is no incorrect answer to what I'm writing about, because the writing is supposed to show my personal opinion. When I write a literary critique, I am free to express my opinion of the writing. I am a writer.